Hey everybody, it's Melissa Killeleagh here, your host of the Melissa Killeleagh Show. Welcome. We're here live in the studio at Finger Lakes One TV. And we're going to have some fun today with some great guests who really embody the concept of living your passion, literally. In the meantime, for those of you who don't know me, I am a mompreneur, so I'm always balancing the busyness of building a business and being mom. And you know, if you've watched this show before, how much I love working with people who are truly living their passion and purpose in this life. And in my own journey, that took quite some time to figure out. So I spent 10 years in finance and feeling like I was running around on a hamster wheel that I finally had to jump off. But now that I have embraced this world of entrepreneurship, I've been able to spend a lot of my time just building relationships and connecting with incredible human beings who are truly doing that, living their passion. So today in the studio, I'm really excited because we have the CEO and president of Passion into Profits. So talk about taking those two worlds together, entrepreneurship and finance. So for me, this speaks so closely to my heart. So we are here with Shelley Hoffman and Amanda Funk, two incredible women, and they're going to be sharing their stories in terms of like where they came from, what their passion is. Their name speaks to most of it, but I'd love for you to hear about their journey and what their legacy is as we chat with them here in the studio today. Thanks for joining me, ladies.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So I would love for you to share with everyone, what Passion into Profits is all about. So either one of you or both.
So Passion into Profits really developed this year after an extensive workshop that we put on in Cortland, New York. And Shelley came to me very bravely and said, hey, we should do this together. And the premise behind Passion into Profits is working with small businesses and ensuring they have all the fundamental pieces in place so they can focus on what their passion really is and turn it into something that ends up being profitable, and they're not spending their day beating their head against the wall. And we're doing that through one-on-one coaching, we're doing that through group consulting, and we're doing that through workshops that we're going to have throughout the next year.
I love it. I love it. Now, the two of you have other businesses besides Passion into Profits where you're also living your passion. Could you both just share a little bit about your businesses and how you sort of evolved into this work?
Sure. So I started out actually after I graduated as a teacher, and from teacher I went into different businesses, finding my home in real estate. And what real estate or all those businesses did is they led up to encompassing the world of real estate, really networking, business-minded, teaching people. First-time homebuyers are my favorite because you're teaching them how to appreciate and search for their home and really monetize what they're doing into their future. But the core of it is I started doing co-branding videos because what my true passion is that I found, and I found that from working with Amanda, is I like helping people. And that's what Passions into Profit is to me. It's helping people who have the idea of a business and making it profitable for them. So when I can do that for other people, just like Amanda, that is uplifting to me. And being in real estate gives me the flexibility to still help other people with their passions as well.
Fantastic. And how about you, Amanda?
Oh goodness, my journey started years ago. I've actually been running and managing my own marketing and public relations firm since 2013. And I spent all these past 6 years really working with small businesses and not-for-profits and helping them spread their message through multiple platforms and media content pieces. And no matter how good of a campaign we built, I began noticing a reoccurring pattern that if they didn't have the structures in place to support what they were advertising, they were going to fail no matter how much effort we put into it. And my passion really is helping people find success on their terms. Mm-hmm. So when I realized the missing pieces were the foundational elements, I was like, we can teach that. That is something that we can correct, and these people can really get their word out there. They can live their passion, and they can develop a business into something that is not only sustainable for them families, but sustainable for their employees and community as well. And that's where Shelley and I really connected, was building the community around the businesses that we were supporting. And that's where Passion to Profits was born.
Yeah, I think about the two of you, and it's almost like a yin and a yang, right?
Yes.
You have some skills that are, and passions that are so similar but you also have others that are so complementary. Like when I think of you, Shelley, having met you through WBOC, like you're the quintessential networker, right? Like when you say you love helping people, I watch it unfold in every moment of conversation, which is so fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Amanda, getting to know you, and your work is so great too, because I see that branding piece, I see that marketing piece, I see that community piece. But more than anything, what I see from both of you is this ability to have this kind of high level integrative systems thinking all the time, while also maintaining attention to detail. And that can be really challenging. Can you talk about that a little bit?
It's communication.
Absolutely, yes.
I think Shelley and I, over the next 10 years, are going to have any marriage therapist's dream as far as communication goes. And it really boils down to figuring out what operational pieces will work for you and what you will maintain and update as you move forward versus, hey, I've got this idea, we're going to run with it over here. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of that too. Like, I'll try this platform, not like it, and stall sometimes. But once you find that right platform to document your efforts, to follow up with your client resource management systems or whatever, even email integration you need to use, once those pieces are in place and you ensure that you are sharing those details back and forth, that's how you ensure you can get the details and the long yard vision at the same time.
And I think the key part of it is really communication. I talk to Amanda now more than I talk to my dad, my children, anybody. Sometimes she's the first call I make in the morning and the last call I make at night. And I think that's huge, because if you're not communicating and you're not open and honest with the feedback of what we're doing, and knowing that you can be honest with the feedback. I mean, it's huge in a partnership, it's huge in a business, and if we want to grow and be where we want to be in 5 years, I hope we continue to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So social marketing, I know, is a huge piece of what you do, and it's at the heart of my entrepreneurial spirit. So, being in network marketing, this is like the lifeblood of, our survival. So I would love for you to share one of the events that you have coming up that really spoke to my team, because we all need to continuously improve, becoming more authentic, being able to truly show up. We talk about Facebook, and, there are so many people out there who post the most outrageous things on Facebook. And I think about it and I'm like, I've always thought about it like my home or my storefront, and I'm standing outside shaking someone's hand. And so, I don't get into what I had for lunch unless I'm, talking about my shakes, right? But do you know what I'm saying? Like, yes. I really try to focus on, like, how does a person come to know me through what's going on here? How can I share things that matter to me that might also help find my people, help find my community? So if you would share your thoughts on social marketing and also this event that's coming up that I'm so excited for.
Go ahead, Amanda.
So in my humble opinion, social media marketing is one of the most important things that you can do for your business, for your brand, for your organization. It is the platform that your visitors, your customers, their network, that's where they're going to find you. Facebook, I don't know if you know this or not, is quickly becoming the top 3 search engine bars on the internet. So you have Google, you have Bing, and you have Facebook.
Interesting.
So if you're not on a social media platform, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WeChat, whatever you want, if you're not on a platform where your core audience is, they're not going to be able to connect with you. And Shelley does a great job about connecting boots on the ground operation to social media operations by incorporating the videos that she does with community members and businesses. And Shelley, do you want to talk about how those videos are building a following for you?
Well, I'm getting known through the videos, I'll be honest. I have people reaching out to me and stating, here's a great event that's going on. Would you like to come and do a video? So it's nice, first off, that people are watching them, so thank you. But it goes back to being authentic to who you are. And this is part of what Amanda and I are going to talk about in our class is be authentic. Melissa's authentic in all her postings that she does. That's why you don't see her food post, because it's not her passion. Amanda and I have different passions, so our Facebook pages and our social media looks a little bit different, but the drive behind it is the same. So if I just have one piece to say to you is just be authentic. So authentic to me is I'm a talker. Might be a shock to a lot of people, but videos allow me to talk. They allow me to use my expression. They allow me to connect with people visually. And that, for whatever reason, is it shows my passion. I hear it all the time, that you can see the passion in my voice or hear the passion in my voice, see it in my face. And that's what videos allowed me to do. So you won't see a lot of quotes or a lot of pictures on my Facebook page because it's not authentic to me. But that may not be authentic to you. So it's about finding your authenticness into the social media platforms.
Yeah, I love that. And I will shamelessly actually use that moment as a plug too for another one of the programs that I've worked with for a long time, which is American Real Live Tribe 21. So for those of you who are out there who go look up Shelley Hoffman and you see how great she is at doing videos and just making other people feel comfortable on their videos, right? Like just connecting with people and being there and being present and showcasing whatever event or situation is unfolding around her. You might get intimidated, right? Because there's a lot of people out there who will say to me, and even on my own team, like, I just don't feel comfortable with that. I just don't know how to do that. And American Real Live Tribe 21 is a great space to be able to go in and just start getting accountable and consistent at posting 60 seconds a day so that you can find your voice, because you sort of have to weed through, you know, the layers. It's kind of like walking into a room and some people will start with small talk, right? And you know I'm not that girl. Like, yeah. I don't want to talk about the weather or, you know, whether or not you're done with your Christmas shopping. Like, I want to get to something. You're right? Because you both have amazing things to say. So, you know, so instead of having small talk on your videos, you know, this is a way to kind of get past that first veil. And when you're getting on your own Facebook page, to really just be able to speak to people and let them see who you are and showcase that authenticity. So, yeah. So, you know, it's interesting to me because the two of you are so passionate. You're promoting a business that's all about passion. But I know there have to be bumps in the road, right? So, again, I know communication is key and all of that, but like, talk to me about some of the struggles that you might have with clients. Like, what are some of the things that you see out there in the world that are the challenges that you're working through with the people that you're serving?
Hey, you go first every time.
I think the biggest challenge I personally see with my small businesses is they go into business with a dream and a passion without any real support in what a business structure looks like for longevity. We can all beat our head against the wall at something for a year or two, but if you want it to be sustainable for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you need to build a solid foundation that you can grow upon. Mm-hmm. And the biggest challenge they have is they thought really hard about this, they went into business, they love what they're doing, they open the doors, and they're ready for business, and then what?
Right.
So the biggest challenge is helping them get past the and then what stage.
Mm-hmm. Or
say they have done the and then what stage, and now their business has gone long enough that they're handing over the keys to the next generation. Mm-hmm. And the next generation has this onus on them to carry forward the family name, and they have that and then what moment. So working with folks and helping them craft their story in a way that is presentable to their ideal clientele and customers, but is also, as Shelley said, authentic to who they are and what their brand is one of the biggest challenges, because we all want to present this picturesque best 5% of our lives on Facebook, but people aren't dealing with your best 5%. They're dealing with your 95%, and how to turn that into something that is not a drain on your social media, but is authentic and real. That can be a challenge.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. And you had mentioned that Amanda and I are kind of yin and yang, which is in our logo, because we really are. So that's something what Amanda talked about, she's really good at. She gets people to understand what they need to do to be successful. My biggest struggle is time and going past comfort zones. So a lot of people think that they see Amanda, who's being successful. They see you being successful. They don't understand the time and effort and planning that you put in to make that happen. They just see the outcome. So they think that it doesn't take that time, that dedication, that hard work, and they just want it to happen naturally. And that's not entrepreneurship. I mean, everybody who is succeeding or striving to succeed knows the hours that are put into to make that happen. And then just go past your comfort zone. I've watched Amanda give people a business plan that I know will take them to another level, but it's out of their comfort zone. So I do try and guide people out of their comfort zone, but that is a struggle for me because I can visualize what they can accomplish if they just take that leap.
Yes.
And it's just getting people to take the leap is hard for me. If they, it's hard to know how great someone can be and they can't see it themselves yet.
Right. Or, if they've started to have that vision and that idea of how great they can be, missing that middle ground, which is like the daily consistent activity, staying on top of like consistent social media present, and like all of it is so important. And I'm grateful for the work that you both do. I am so very much. I would love to know, I know you were talking about the next generation coming on and taking over the business and what their ideal clients are, but who are your ideal clients? Like, who are the people out there that you would love to work with the most? Like, who do you feel you best serve at this moment in time?
Oh, look at her. She wants me to go first. Fine. The ideal for me is anybody that has that thirst for knowledge. The teacher in me, the trainer in me, somebody that really wants to take something that I've been through or Amanda's been through, and they really want to learn from the very, very beginning to the end. So selfishly, it would be real estate. I'm approved to teach real estate now in the state of New York. We talked about Passions to Profit having some type of real estate classes as well. So that's a goal for me in the future. But ideally, that would probably be something that I would really enjoy doing as far as clients. And then networking, people that want to go out and put their personalities, their service, their client, the clients they want to serve, and get out there and show me how they're doing it and wanting to share that with me, because we like to share everybody's wins and their aha moments instead of the people that keep it to themselves.
Yeah, I love that. Amanda?
I would have to say my ideal client for us is the hungry client, the client that has a dream, that has a goal and has a drive, and just may need a roadmap on how to get there. Mm-hmm. Someone who has been thinking about this for years or months if they're one of those people who just jump into opportunities. But someone who is genuinely and earnestly looking to grow a business and not just a highly expensive hobby.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have one class that we know of that we can offer to everyone coming up, which is the January class. Mm-hmm. Right? Do you want to share the details again?
Sure.
Okay.
So January 10th from 5 to 7 in Baldwinsville. Our website, passionsintoprofits.help/book now, has a link for all the details. And we're going to be covering on how to leverage your social media in 2019. What do the algorithms require? What's the best content to put up there? What are the rules for the gatekeepers? And honestly, what is the etiquette? And how to present your best self on social media while promoting your business and putting yourself in a position to make a profit. And Shelley's going to be teaching a large portion on the class, and I'm going to be teaching a large portion. And you're going to see us yin and yang back and forth. And you're going to see how a team, a partnership, can bring information to small businesses and how small businesses can walk away, and even not-for-profits. So I don't want to eliminate organizations that feel they need additional social media support. But those who need help, Shelley and I are going to be able to ping pong back and forth and get the answers to those questions that have been driving them nuts and aren't necessarily Googleable.
All right. I love it. I love it. And as long as people are following your website, they'll be able to keep up with upcoming events. So that's great.
Yes, we'll be putting all of our upcoming events on our website. We'll be putting them on Facebook. You'll be able to find them on Eventbrite. You'll be able to find them on our various social media pages, because we each still have our business page that will share where we're doing, and you'll be able to see them on our personal page if you're in our private circle.
Perfect. Yeah, I love it. I'll be sharing them too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So now let's get a little bit more personal, because I think it's so fun to kind of tease apart that yin and yang and look at like the two individuals, right? Continue to to really just share that. And so one of the questions I love to ask is, what is the legacy that you're working on this planet, right? Like what do you want to be known for at the end of the day? And I'm pretty sure I could answer for both of you already, but we want to hear it right from you.
Well, for mine, it's I've given a lot of thought over the last probably 5 or 6 months. And, when I was younger, I used to have the microphone and I'd want to be at center stage. And honestly, now I just really want to be known for lifting other people up to what their passion is and kind of sit back and watch them grow and kind of bathe in the fact that I got to be a part of that for them. I'm in a couple different organizations that, it's service above self. And I've kind of taken that to me personally is that's what we're all really here for. We're not here for self-promotion. We're here to help other people. But sometimes you have to build yourself up first. And I feel like I was able to do that the first part of my life to give me the ingredients, I guess, and the structure and the self-confidence that I don't have to be center stage. It's really cool just to help other people get to that point. And that might sound self-serving as I hear it, but I don't usually talk about it. It's usually just something that's in my head. And I had a great conversation with a gentleman who's been playing Santa Claus for 45 years. And we just talked for about 45 minutes on what he does. And we're going to meet after the holidays to talk about how we can promote even what he does to make it bigger and stronger. And that has literally carried me through happiness up until this point, probably for the rest of the day. So that's me.
I love it. That's great.
Okay.
Doing business with Santa. That's great. Amanda, how about you?
Oh, goodness, I have to follow that. Honestly, mine is more about the quiet ripples. I don't need to be center stage, even though I do like attention from time to time. I'm more concerned with, how is this going to impact someone's life 5 years from now? How is this going to make a difference as it ripples out into the world, the quiet ripples? And Shelley and I actually did a fire walk recently. Yes. And on the part of this, and I didn't know this at the time, was you had to break a board. And on the back of the board, you had to write your lifetime goals. And I don't know where it came from, but it just flowed out of me, and it said to make ripples that impact at least 2 generations from now, and my name doesn't have to be attached. I just want to work with people who are going to elevate their passions, and it's going to have long-lasting positive impacts on the community and those around us. It's not about me or Shelley. It's about what we can do for those around us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, that is exactly the essence of why I love this show. This is what I wanted to do here, is to gather the people in my life who live their lives in such a way that we know you're having that ripple effect that will carry on long after, right? And part of that is being so crystal clear on the values that guide you, being clear on the passion that drives you, and walking that path, right? And the fact that you are not only doing that, but showing other people how to do that is really incredible, because that's where it's at.
Now, and I have to add, if you don't mind for a moment, that
not at all.
When we met you, literally that emanate, it's like off of you. Like every question that you ask, every conversation you have with people, that's what you do. You bring out the best. You make people recognize their passion and stuff. So I think it's great that you have this show to kind of share all that and share yourself so people can see that is authentically who you are. So I think that's great.
That is really amazing feedback, and I love it. Thank you.
Sure. And I'll piggyback after that, because we have mutual clients that we have coached. And I will get on the phone with the mutual client, and the person will say to me, well, Melissa said that I really just need to get out of my head and get it done. I'm like, and are you going to? It's you two are walking the walk and talking the talk. So feel validated and knowing that others are seeing what you are hoping to accomplish.
Thank you. Well, and in my world, network marketing, we're still sort of working to overcome a lot of the old school stigma that has carried on, over decades and generations, and rightfully so. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of practices that went on long ago that were so inappropriate that, people have struggled with this business model. And even still, because it is an independent consultant business, everyone sort of has the right to govern their business, to run their business however they want, right? And so there are still people who are aggressive in sales or who are pushy or, who might influence someone, and then that affects our brand, right? So what I love to teach people is like to fairly quickly align with the brands, right? So when I talk about Arbonne, and I don't talk about it very often on this show, but when I talk about Arbonne, like talking about the fact that we've been around since 1980. So there's history, there's longevity, there's culture. It's been green since that time. It's something that's trendy and new for us, right? We're all about being health conscious and healthy living from the inside out. And it's not just about the food you put in your body or what you put on your skin. It's about the thoughts, the ideas, like the people that you invite into your life. And so quickly align with the brand, but then beyond that, it's doing the work that you're talking about, which is who are you, right? So even when you're in network marketing, I think that's a misconception, is people will say like, oh, I just align with the brand, I'm good, let's go. You have to go beyond that. Who are you? You're still a business. You're still your own entity. So what are the values that you stand for, that take you further up that mountain, right, that separate you from the people around you? And it's not that we have to be better than or compare ourselves to other, but it's really important that we're living our passion. We're living our purpose. We understand our values as our own internal navigation system on that journey. So, again, I couldn't be more happy that our paths crossed. Yeah. And 3 times in the last week.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to share some time with another special guest, but then we're going to come back and share some inspiration for our viewers, especially heading into the holidays. So in the meantime, we have a wonderful guest who is not in studio, but will be joining us. His name is Chris Felice. He was on our show several months ago. He is an investigator for Seneca County Sheriff's Department, a great friend of mine, a business partner, and recently has embraced his own passion, which is to bring all of the years of personal experience and also professional experience, both in emergency services and the work that he's done in law enforcement, most recently really working with a lot of our most difficult cases, which relate to everything from domestic violence to abuse cases. And to take that into a podcast that brings new voice to these concepts of shame or shameless. So here we are with Chris Felice. All right, everybody, I'm here today with Chris Felice. He is an investigator for the Seneca County Sheriff's Department, and you probably recognize him from a recent show. He was on with his partner, Melinda Marquardt, to talk a little bit about getting involved in our community and how to really help kind of wrap our hands and our hearts around some of the children in our community. And we're actually taking a turn with that message. And although we can continue to share those ideas, you could also go back to that podcast from over the summer and take a listen yourself. I think this time of year, people really do get, even more interested in how to help in giving back. But today's focus is actually to bring Chris back, because as we left the show last time, an idea was sparked for Chris to go ahead and get started in his own podcast. And so I wanted to take a moment to have him share a little bit of information so that you can stay tuned on iTunes for this new podcast, which is called Shame and Shameless podcast. So Chris, can you share a little bit about the birth of this new podcast and what it's all about?
So Shame or Shameless podcast is it's going to be a podcast show. We're starting, and we're going to be launching in the beginning of January 2019. So we're in the home stretch. This has been a show in the making for a few months, and super excited about it because it's a well put together show, and but it will be a show where we share stories, real stories, from all kinds of people, but it will provide stories and messages to listeners everywhere who may have come from a place of shame and moved to a point in their life where they're no longer shameless, or I'm sorry, where they're no longer living in shame over a situation. So that's where the shameless piece comes in. But also a platform for people to share their stories that will resonate with other people, and really bring people to a place of gratitude for, life's experiences. I think that it will provide, our listeners with maybe a different way of thinking that they can identify with in their own life, and hopefully move forward. And if they choose, they need to move forward in a direction where they are, become more self-aware and more willing to step out and impact as many other people as they can in a positive way. Because ultimately, when we share our gifts with other people, when we create positive change, that changes us as well.
Absolutely.
So it's not all about me, it's about we, but it does come back full circle,
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, I'm so excited that you decided to just bring this out into the world when you did. I think so often in life, like, we wait until there's ideal circumstances, like, oh, well, when I retire from this career, I'll start that, or when I have more time, I'll write that book, or, when I'm this, we suffer from this, like, indefinite procrastination that has to do with fulfilling circumstances that typically never come to pass, right? Life is always busy. Life is always messy. Life is always full of circumstances, and it's how we choose to experience them and see them that makes the difference. And shame is a really powerful emotion. Shame could be anything from, like, getting a bad grade in school, to not living up to our parents' expectations, or feeling like, we aren't the person that we would want to be seen through, like, our higher power's eyes, or whatever it might be. And also, from all of your years in law enforcement, I know we've talked at great length about what shame is like, when it comes to, a victim's experience, when someone experiences something, a crime against them in this life, like, how often there's victim blaming, and there's also that, extended feeling of shame from that. So I think this is powerful, and I'm so excited because you decided not to put this off. You jumped right in. You did, just to put a quick plug in too, because, you jumped into the 21-day challenge with American Real Live Tribe, began doing your, 1-minute lives every day after having no, experience really doing lives for that particular purpose, and then jumped into Podcast Your Passion with the owner, Roger Brooks. And, here we are, like, the beginning of the year. Again, people, stay tuned on iTunes, because this is about to happen. So yeah, I'm excited. So Chris, I have a question. What is, like, what is one message that you would love to pass along when it comes to your experience in law enforcement doing the work that you do? Actually, can you share a little bit again with people who are watching, because maybe they didn't watch the last episode, what exactly it is you do now, and then share that message?
Sure. So what I do within law enforcement at this point in my career, I'm an investigator. I work, with the sheriff's office that I work for and with. I'm a part of the family services unit. And so it's a unit comprised of myself and one other person, my partner, Melinda Marquardt. But we together, we work any family related cases, any family services type cases, which encompass a lot of different things. So, I mean,
domestic violence, child abuse, like all the tough stuff like that, right?
Right. So we work, with child abuse cases, and their, whatever type of abuse it is, that falls, under the family services unit area of service. We review and we assist, when needed with, assist the road patrol with domestic violence stuff, but also with making sure that everybody gets the services that they need. And, we're really here to help people. And so that's really, what we do. But being with the unit, it has allowed us to really focus on those key areas, though. So child abuse cases can be really, think of it can be really convoluted, I guess, can get really messy as far as, there's a lot of different pieces. And there's a lot of follow-up work that needs to be done, and there's a lot of other things that go along with that that need to be done. And so having a unit dedicated to those specific cases has created a huge opportunity for the victims and the other people who ultimately suffer along with victims of those types of abuse or those types of crimes. So, yeah, it's been a kind of a, it's just really more of a victim-centered approach. And so we're so focused on getting services and, doing everything in a more, the best possible way that it can be handled. So,
what's your message for everybody?
So my message for everybody is, I have a lot of messages that I'd like to get out there, but, I guess based on, the focused area that I work within, the message that I would like to share is that, we have a major problem in society with blaming the victim. And a lot of these types of cases. So, and a lot of sexual assault cases, child sexual abuse cases, domestic violence cases. We have a big problem in this country, I guess, maybe even as a whole, as to placing blame. And that goes generally in a direction that is directed toward the victim. And so I would like to let the world know, I guess, that that has a detrimental effect to our victims and to our people that are ultimately affected in these cases. Because when you have a case that involves, let's just say, a serious domestic violence type case, the person that is directly impacted by their abuser is not the only person that is affected. But with the way that we blame victims, it creates a whole lot of other troubles for holding people accountable. It creates a problem for our victims moving forward, to get through that shame piece.
Mm-hmm.
It creates problems with people feeling supported. The list just goes on and on and on. So I could say that that's probably my number one thing for today that I would like to share with the world is stop shaming the victims, stop blaming the victim. Ultimately, it in a lot of cases that I've seen it sways a jury.
Right.
It allows violent offenders to walk free and not held accountable for the things that they have done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's empowering to the offender, I guess. It's empowering to the abuser. One of the biggest fears that I always have in any case that is that, when you have an offender that is empowered, not only by their actions, but then by society.
Right. Right.
That it amplifies that offender's actions to the next level.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think about, in a lot of these cases, even if the children aren't the victim, let's say in a domestic violence case, for example, but they're witnesses, what we also do is we continue to perpetuate this, next generation of offenders, because people get very confusing messages around, how to behave and how to hold themselves accountable and what healthy relationships look like, and, and all of that. And so we really, as human beings, need to take a step back and just ask ourselves, like, how would I feel in that person's shoes? How would I want the world to see me? How would I expect my offender to be handled? Right. And really, like, constantly put ourselves in other people's shoes. So thank you for that.
Yeah. And I think that is just such an easy way to put it. And so it's such an important thing to think about as human beings. Empathy.
Compassion. Yeah.
Just being empathetic to another person's situation, even if you don't agree with it, you can still be empathetic. Even if you don't believe it, you can still put yourself in their shoes as to how they would feel and act accordingly to that. Yeah. So I think that far too often we don't think about, other people's needs, and we, it's really easy to become part of the problem, where it might not be so popular to become part of the solution.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I thank you, Chris, for being part of the solution, not only in your work that you're doing right now, but in the beginning of this podcast, because I think it's so important just to really get people to think, right? Get us to question, get us to, really expand our understanding of other people's experiences. So thank you for that. So once again, everyone who's watching, stay tuned on iTunes for the Shame or Shameless podcast, which will be airing first thing in January. And in the meantime, Chris, thank you so much for your service. I'm so grateful for both you and Melinda. This next unfolding of, what the next 5 years looks like in all of our lives is going to be pretty amazing, because the two of you have also helped to fulfill this sort of unfolding vision for me as I use network marketing to lock arms with other people who are doing amazing work in the world, so that we can use this as a platform to create great change. Right. So thank you. And everyone who's watching, stay tuned. iTunes, Shameless podcast. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Melissa.
You got it. All right. So like I said, at least 100 times, stay tuned on iTunes for the Shame or Shameless podcast. That was Chris Felice, and I'm so excited for what he's kicking off the new year with. And in the meantime, we've got a couple pieces of inspiration for you to leave you for the holidays until we see you again in the new year, 2019. We're going to start with Shelley. And I think what I want to ask Shelley is, like, who is a mentor, someone that has really spoken to you in your lifetime, whose words of wisdom might speak to our viewers?
Okay. So I, as Amanda likes to say, I've worn 14 hats in my life, and each person probably, there's been somebody that's guided me. But currently, I went to a seminar and I met a woman named Deborah West. And Deborah West was a single mom, a real estate agent, worked for the same brokerage I was at the time, and she created her own brokerage. And that's not why she inspires me, although I think that is all awesome. But she is now working in a system of coaching. So she became my coach, just a random, I met her, she became my coach. And she said to me, this is how real estate works. This is how you build a business. Bing, 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 bing. She took the time to get to know me, to get to know my vision, my goals, what I want to accomplish in life, including passions into profit with Amanda, and said, you know what? This is what I was taught to teach you. This is where we're going to go with it. And she was able to completely turn all her training and coaching around to work with me. And that inspires me, because that's what I would love to do with other people. We get so caught in, this is the way that we need to go, this is the way we need to go to be successful. And there's more than one path in life to take. So thank you, Deborah West, because she does follow things that I do, for being open-minded and encouraging and reminding me that it's okay if I take a different path.
I love it. I love it. I'm constantly sharing that concept in network marketing. Just like real estate, there are principles that are timeless, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
But the techniques are going to change over time and adjust according to the individual person, because if we're going to showcase that authenticity, then we have to be willing to adapt and evolve. So,
can I give you one example of what
Yeah.
you said? So in real estate, they say cold call. You need to call 10 people a day. And I did it, and it was successful, but I was miserable. And turns out that my connecting in the community, my videos, my joining different groups, and being part of other people's fundraising are my 10 contacts. So I don't sit on the phone and make calls anymore, but I'm still doing my 10 touches that they tell you that you need to do per day in real estate. I'm just doing it a different way. And that's in any business. There's always a different way, but you still need to accomplish the goal at the end of the path.
Right. So the principle is get in front of new people.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And build relationships. Technique is different. I love it. Amanda, so for your inspiration, is there any particular quote or song or lyric or anything that stands out to you that you could share with our viewers?
Oh my goodness. I have one standby quote that I have used since my yearbook quote.
Love it.
We're not going to put the year out there, even though it was last week. And the quote, I actually heard it on TV during one of the 9/11 mass funeral services.
Wow.
And it was from a priest that I apologize, I can't name, but he said, courage is only fear that has said a prayer. And to me, that from that point on is, yeah, it's scary, go do it. So whenever I hit a fear wall, I just, we're going to do this, and I go. And I use that in business. I use that with my kids. I use that in my marriage. I use that with Shelley, because Shelley goes, hey, let's start to do business. And I went, okay.
I love it.
I hit the wall, and then you push through it, and it just reminds you that the only thing in between you and success is yourself.
Yeah. I love it. So I'll share with you, totally transparent, completely vulnerable. Every time I sit down at this desk, I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I'm going to say some incredibly silly thing. You know, my hands sweat every time I sit down, so there's always marks on the desk, and I purposefully stay put. But you have to absolutely feel the fear and do it anyways. Yeah, Susan Jeffries wrote a book by that title, actually. That really spoke to me. But that so brilliantly segues to the inspiration that I want to leave everyone with. So, heading into the new year, if you want to stay inspired every single day, a couple of months ago, we had a guest on, Mark Hayford. He is a DJ extraordinaire. He is an author. He's a speaker. He is also in Arbonne. He's an incredible man all the way around. And he recently wrote his second book. So his first bestseller was Get Up. And now this next book is 365 Days of Encouraging You to Attack Life. So go out, get the book, and spend 2019 making it your best year yet. I want to thank these ladies for joining me in studio. I want to thank all of you for watching. I am so grateful. I'm grateful for Finger Lakes One, everybody here. So have an incredible holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year.